Okay, got my tea. And it is sweet. So where were we? Guess we should bring up the website. And the thing that we're working on is actually not published. So it's under a draft flag, but that doesn't mean that we can't access it on our local server here. So it's actually this URL. And last stream what we got was this like raycasting thing going on, where if this point is inside of this cat polygon, it is colored blue, but if it's outside, it changes to yellow anywhere along this cat here. And the algorithm behind that, you can watch last stream if you want to figure it out or go through it. But we don't have a way to determine the exact intersection points, and we're going to need that in the very end. So we're going through all of this. This is going to be a blog post at the end of the day, and it's going to show you how to clip polygons to any arbitrary convex polygon. I don't know if the Sutherland algorithm can handle concave clipping polygons. Get ready, LOL. Can you guys hear me? Oh, I saw you were trying to stream earlier. How did that go? Everything all right? Got semi things to work on. I noticed I popped into your chat. Acorn is raiding. Oh, big raid. What's up, everybody? Well, what? First time chatter. Look at you. Howdy, how's it going? Hi, beautiful. Thank you. You're gonna make me turn red. So what we are working on, my name's Josh. You can probably find me expressing my opinions in other people's chats. Hey there, bro. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. Immaculate raid count. Yeah, I've noticed that. We're working on, this is going to turn white, so if you don't like white, be aware. But we're working on this algorithm here where you can take this W shape, and it doesn't have to be a W, it can be any kind of polygon, even a convex polygon like this W is. And you are clipping it to this red shape. And that is called the Sutherland, well, there's all kinds of algorithms to do this. Bullying Chrissy codes. I don't think I'm that bad. I probably come off as like a know-it-all, but whatever. It's all good. I think she can handle it. Yeah, so we are going through this algorithm. It is listed here. Let me put the link in the chat. And the pseudocode for it is here. But the problem is that there's things in the pseudocode that aren't implemented for you, like this compute intersection function is not defined anywhere, and there's another one, I can't remember where it is. Yeah, this determining if a point is inside a clipping edge, how do you do that? It's not listed here. It kind of assumes that that functionality is like already within your application, and we've got a lot of that done already. We're working on a blog post which is going to kind of detail how do we get this algorithm, and like starting from square one, how do we arrive here? So it's kind of in reverse order, but we're working on the visualizations of how do we achieve that. So the thing that we start out with is determining if a point is on the right side of a line. I think it's just generic pseudocode, but it does look a lot like a Python or a Ruby. Although I don't know if Python has else if. I think they shorten it to elif. Hey Madeline, I think it's Madeline. Is it Madeline or Madeline? My sister's name is Madeline, but there's no E between the L and the I, like yours has. But her name is Madeline, so I don't know if you are the same. Yeah, let me get off this white screen. So yeah, so the very first thing we did was did this little thing here where no matter like the angle of this line, it's always blue if it's on the right side, that point, and it's yellow if it's on the left, even if you have your line like this, right? And then we said, well, how do we determine if a point is inside a polygon? And we have this illustration here. If you go outside of the white line, it's yellow. If you're inside, it is blue. But this one doesn't handle convex polygons, and that's what this one is here is. A convex polygon is you're not always guaranteed. If you take 2 points inside of your polygon and you draw a line between them, the convex polygon means that some of those points may lie outside of the polygon. And if you're interested in that, I went into a lot of detail on last stream of like proving that and showing it. Hey Nana. Yeah, I got a big raid from Acorn. Yeah, I'm kind of new to this, but I think I can do that, unrecognized commands. How do you do a shout out on stream? Is it not /OSO? I think it might be a exclamation point. Is it /shout out? Okay. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Thank you for that. So where were we? So many new chatters. It's like, because when you are in like a new chatter or your raider, it puts like a little square around your box. So it's kind of weird to like look at it in this way. Hey techie girl, how are you? What happened to the old Josh? What do you mean? You say that about everybody, Wolf. Yeah, so if you want to determine if a point is inside of a polygon, it's any arbitrary polygon, you just cast a ray to the right and you count the number of intersections. If it's odd, like right here, you got one odd intersection, it's going to be inside that polygon. If it is 2 or even, like that, you've got 2 of them there, then it's going to be outside the polygon. And the reasoning behind that is you're counting the number of times that you are entering and exiting the shape. But to do that, you have to kind of determine if this line here is intersecting segments of your polygon. So the algorithm is kind of like you take every segment of that polygon and check it against this horizontal line. Big brain stuff. I don't think so. I mean, the hardest part is turning it into like an SVG that you can fiddle around with. But can you guys tell what this shape is? Because I carefully picked out these points to look like a certain animal. Yeah, it's like or a dog. I think it's yeah, I guess it could be a dog too, like a small dog. Cat. Everybody says cat. Yeah, you guys are right. But what I want to do on this stream is kind of like draw these points here, but we don't have them calculated yet. We just have a Boolean telling us if we are inside or outside. It's a Pokemon. That's a good one. Looks like a cow. I don't think so. What kind of cow looks like this? Yeah, it looks like a Pikachu on 4 legs. But I have notes for this because earlier today I spent a lot of time of like, how can I explain this in a way that makes sense to me? The new cows, they just came out. I've heard about like, how do you get chocolate milk? You have to get it out of a brown cow. Oh yeah, there are some Neopets fans in here. I know that Acorn likes Neopets. I don't know if Neopets is still around though. Maybe maybe it's still like active, or there's still like an active community out there somewhere. Is the audio okay? Can you guys like hear me over the music? Audio is great. Sweet. That's the big thing I was worried about whenever I first started streaming. My Little Pony fan? No way. Thank you, girl knows. Oh, sorry. Okay, so let's open Excalibur and get some work done. I have a feeling that when there's this many people in the chat, like it's gonna be hard to get work done. But that's okay. I'd rather talk to y'all than like actually do work, you know? Weird NFT stuff went down. Oh, really? Is that true? I could see that being a big problem. Okay, so we need to determine these intersection points, right? We don't know where they're at. We just are counting crossings, but we don't know their exact positions. Who remembers LimeWire? I remember downloading a lot of skateboard videos off of LimeWire. I got hella viruses. That sucks. There was another one, I can't remember what the name of it was, but there was something before LimeWire that we used to use a lot. All right, let's draw this out. So where's the draw tool? Yeah, we got the pencil. So we're going to think about this in terms of vectors. Cause I don't remember, but do y'all remember anytime like social media comes up and we talk about like social media of the past? Does anybody remember before MySpace there was this site called Xanga? It was Xanga. If you remember that, then you're old school. Yeah, I remember Xanga, like you had the ability to like customize your CSS and stuff. Like I think that's where it all started for me. It's still a site, by the way, is it really? People are using it? I wonder if it's like a lot of those like old websites that are still around have kind of like nefarious intention nowadays. Okay, so let's say that we need 2 lines, right? A line consists of 2 points. And to match my notes, I'm going to draw this in a kind of a weird way. But we got a line between A and B, and these are just arbitrary. This is C and this is D. Oops. Bear share? Maybe it was bear share. Xanga? Is that how you all said it? Xanga? Maybe it was Zynga, like with the without the X part of it. Zynga, yeah. So we're gonna think about this in terms of interpolation. Like if we want to go from A to B, you would start at the vector A, and you are going to add to it some amount of B minus A. And that's going to be parameterized by this T value. So think about this. If T is 0, then you didn't move along this vector at all, right? Because this term would go to 0. A plus 0 is still A. But if T was 1, so here T is going from 0 to 1. If you're at 1, you're going all the way along this vector. Tumblr, yeah. Tumblr is pretty cool. I spend a lot of time on Tumblr. Like, I really like the aesthetic of Tumblr. I know Tumblr is still around, but there was like there was a moment where like they censored a lot of content, and that was a pretty big deal. I don't know how old you are, Wolf. They censored me, so I left. No, I wasn't posting anything censor worthy. 24, okay. Impressive. I say impressive because you know a lot for being 24. A lot more than I did when I was 24. Yeah, so we are parameterizing this function by the t term. So again, if you are at 0, you didn't travel along A at all. If you are at 1, then you went all the way to B. 24 going on 37. No, I thought you went to like the gym and stuff. I thought you were like pretty healthy. Can you guys guess how old I am? $31, dang. How am I called out so easily like that? I am 31, and I don't feel like I'm 31 at all. But I don't think I'm as old as some people on here. Which feels good. Well, It's not, there's nothing wrong with being old, right? Don't want to make anybody feel bad for that, for what age they are. How old is, how old are you? No, is he? Or, yeah. So we have this, and T goes from A to B, but we're also going to parameterize C to D. So same thing, we take C, we're going to take the difference between D. These little like half arrows on top mean that they are vectors. Just to be mathematically formal about it. Well, there's a lot of people that are kind of like in my age group up in here, so that's pretty cool. No way. I turned 18 on Wednesday? No way. If that's true, then happy birthday. Or happy early birthday. Can I get rid of this thing? Probably not. Yeah, so C, so these are two functions that we have. They are parameterized by T and U, but all you gotta do is just set them equal to each other. When they are equal to each other, that will determine what this point in the middle is. More than 2 minutes, you realize he's a toddler. What are you gonna do about that, Tobbs? I'm surprised y'all are guessing, I think Tobbs, you guessed what, 20? Oh, and by the way, everybody that came from the raid and followed so far, thank you. I've got, let's see, Woof, there's Acorn, there's Tobbs, IMG ID him, thank you, and Zenith, thank you, and anybody that I might have missed. Yeah, you know, it's a little spicy in here sometimes, even though this is only the 4th stream. I kind of like that. So we're going to set these equal to one another. Let's see. Oh, but you know what I'm going to do before I do that? I'm going to give this a name and this a name. So we're going to say R is equal to, and S is equal to this. 30 viewers only on 4th stream. Oh, that's because of Acorn. Like, PNAC, you were the only one in here last stream. Oh, and Nana Banana. I think. But there was other people that didn't chat as much, so. Commodore, thank you for following. I need a better like alert for when somebody follows, you know, just to be polite about it. Read me a bedtime story later. I put a filter on my microphone, so this isn't my real voice. Let me make this a little clearer. So this is a D. And then we can rewrite this. I'm going to rewrite this and set them equal to each other all in the same go. R times T, and that is equal to the vector C plus the vector S times U. But let's do it this way. So usually that scalar goes in the front. And scalars, you can move them around anywhere you want. So we can make that, say, T and the vector R plus U and the vector S. Oh yeah, PNAC Gamer is gonna stream soon. Let me see what they got you with. That's weird. I don't know how to allow that message to go through. Yeah, I want to get a tablet, because if I'm going to be doing these like really mathy things, but I'm getting a lot better at using the mouse. But I saw what you said, PNAC. I don't know why it auto modded you. Is it really bad? That was the one that that was recommended to me, so maybe I'll switch it over to something else. Nightbot. Fossabot? I'll check it out. Yeah, I just liked how simple Nightbot looked. Stream Elements, yeah. Stream Elements, like they've got all like the notifications and stuff as well. So maybe I'll use that. Maybe I'll use all three of them, who knows? But then it's like if you have too many bots in your channel, then it's all just bots like spamming, or not spamming, but just like too many bot messages in one go. Oh yeah, I can make my own list. But I wonder how long those lists end up being. Which, I mean, if they're huge lists, then it's probably totally fine. Okay, so one thing that we have here is that we are solving for this t and u, but how do we get t and u? Well, we're going to make use of the cross product in 2 dimensions to help us out with that. Wait, should I change it on the fly? You guys have to be on your best behavior until I fix it. Oh, I can allow it there. Yeah, let's say that. So... deleted by moderator. Oh, okay. Whatever. Yeah, I'll go back and I'll make it a little bit less strict on things. Okay, so we're gonna use cross product, and the cross product in 2 dimensions. Let's do it over here. Let's say you have A cross B. So in like component form, that's going to be something like this. And you can take the cross product in 2 dimensions, but it is, I think it's called the determinant. So if you think about this as a matrix, you're taking the determinant of that matrix. So that is by times ax minus ay times bx. That's all it is. So the nice thing about taking a cross product is any vector cross itself is equal to 0. So you can use that and you can do some cancellation with this thing here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cross. So we're going to be trying to solve for either t or u. I can't remember what this will do, if it'll give us t or if it'll give us u. But we're going to cross each side with r. So you get r like this. You'll have, what is it? This whole thing cross r. And this thing cross r. And then the cross product is distributive, so you can, this is a vector plus t. T is a scalar, but let me see if this is right. Oh, yeah. So let me do it by s, just to follow along with what the notes say. So we're going to cross by s instead of r. If you did it with r, you probably end up at the same result, but I think you would get u in the end. So we're going to cross it by s. Let's get rid of all this. So that's a cross s plus t times, oh, there's an r here. That's what's missing. So that's what's throwing me off. You can make T-Droid by watching Techie's bots. I thought about making my own bot, but I don't know. That's like, there's so many like people that have gone through that journey, and it's like, would I really be adding anything more to the conversation? This is going to be a scalar, so you can bring it out front. You got r cross s, and that's equal to c cross s plus u s cross s. Make your own bot? Yeah, you can give it a name, like Chrissy has the Mecha Chrissy bot name, and Techie's got Techie Droid. So the reason that we did this was now that we can cancel this out. So this all goes to 0, and u times 0, this whole term drops out, right? And then we can isolate t to get it equal to c cross s, and we subtract this a cross s, bring it over to the right side, all over, you divide. So when that goes, that'll come over here, you'll get r cross s, you just divide out r cross s. Josh doing vector math. I think like thinking in vectors is the way for me. Build your own bot, yeah. Backseat. Oh, that'd be cool to have a bot that backseats you somehow. So in the end, you're left with this. You can actually combine this term here. You can factor out the cross s on the right. So c minus a cross s all over r cross s. And that's what t is. And it's the same process to isolate the u. What OS is this? I use Pop OS. Do I do graphics programming? I don't do anything like with OpenGL or anything. Most of the stuff I do is just in the browser. I have done like WebGL stuff in the browser at work, and probably will get that into that eventually on stream if I can come up with a good project for it. So I don't think I'm going to do like really long projects. It's probably just going to be like explorations of small topics. Kind of like if you've watched Soding streams, he does like maybe like 2 or 3 streams on the same topic before he switches to something else. And he has like longer like sessions where he does, you know, like 10 or 11 of the same application, like working on the same application. I don't know if I'll get there. But in the end, you'll get u is equal to through the same kind of like process that we did for t, you'll get a minus c cross r all on top of s cross r. But yeah, C compiler and PHP. Yeah, it's a little bit of a meme. Definitely built different. He is kind of he's very interesting. I think he's got a lot to think about. He's like very insightful. He's got a lot of like experience. I think he kind of downplays a lot of stuff. Like he kind of treats things like, I know it's like everything, it's just like a joke sometimes, but I don't know. He's got a lot of like controversial opinions, especially about like web dev and stuff. And then he gets mad when he can't find something like, dude, you know, like, what do you want us to do about it? That's, I mean, other than that, I think he's an alright streamer. Yeah, very old school, I would say. Yeah. Last TS stream got, oh yeah, it was hard. I think that was a stream where I finally like stopped lurking and said something. I don't want to cause any drama, but he's like, oh, why is it like this? Why is it so hard? You know, it's like, dude, just chill. Okay, let me, so these are what we're working with, and you can kind of see there's a little bit of, like it almost looks like we can manipulate U to be more like T, and you can if you take this property that the cross product is, I think it's called anti-commutative. So this is true, and we're going to utilize that to our advantage. So if you take this and you substitute R for B and this difference here for A, you can actually get U is equal to C minus A cross R on top of R cross S. Thanks for following CM Griffing. Glad to see you here. And AC Borg 13, thank you. I mean, I like C, but I don't think you should compare everything to C, or like, you know, you have to be flexible, right? It's crazy to want all languages to be perfect, right? It's not gonna happen. Is he the lurker? Yeah, so you can see I want to bring this, darn it, this thing a little bit closer to down here. So you can see there's a lot of the same like terms in these two. We've got R cross S on the bottom, and you've got this C minus A on the left side at the top. But we're gonna turn this into code. So to write this kind of like in component form, we'll take this like this numerator at the top. Kotlin is Bay every day. It's a nice language. I really like it. The look of it, at least. It has a lot of like extra features that I wish Dart had. And the example that I'm thinking of was I was working on Advent of Code, and I was doing it in Dart, and I was just curious, like in other languages, what it looked like. And there was like a windowing function for like traversing a list. And you can take the list, like there's in algorithms and stuff, you can like take a windowed view of that list, and that was like natively supported in Kotlin, but not in Dart. I mean, it's not like a hard function to write, but it is just nice when there's so many things just out of the box. Pretty soon I'll make, well, I don't want to get into that, but yeah. I got an interview tomorrow, so y'all wish me luck. Should be pretty fun. Yeah, I had one for PHP the other day. It pays a lot more than what I was making, or what I am making now. I think it's a front end position, so they didn't really say too much about it. But interestingly, like they're looking for any framework. If you've got React or Svelte or whatever, they're cool with it. So I don't want like to. I would prefer to work in Svelte, but if they prefer like React or something, I think it'll be all right. Dream job, professor. Yeah, you love Svelte. Oh, you know it. Svelte is Bay, as you would say. Contribute to Svelte? I don't know. I don't know if I'd like working on like compiler. It's like you have to work kind of like, I really like the way to like visualize things, like with graphics and stuff. And yeah, I think if you were to like work with Svelte, you're working more on like, I don't want to call it like back-end stuff, but you're definitely not like working on graphics and things like that. You're not working in like the browser. I mean, maybe like there is definitely part of that. There's like, you know, the documentation and, you know, running like your node server in the browser and things like that. Want to be a professor? Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I've been streaming for quite a while now, but we'll get into some Svelte in a moment. What would I teach? I would probably teach, I don't know, probably just web dev, maybe? Or maybe just like graphics or math or linear algebra or something like that. So if we want to write this, I'm going to take this top term here and we're going to write it as C minus A in the X direction. And this is CY minus AY cross. Should I go through all this, or do y'all just want the answer? I mean, like, does anybody find this interesting, or should I just cut to the chase? We'll take the answer. Okay, so you've got... If you do this, so essentially you you're like, but the reason why we're going to write it in this form is we're coding it, right? So this is nice from a mathematical perspective, but how do we translate that into code? Well, that's what I was going to go through here, but I'm just going to give you the answer. So t ends up being sy times the difference of cx and ax, and that minus cy ay here minus sx. And u is going to be pretty much the same thing here, but you'll get ry on the left, and you'll get rx over here. Same thing right here. And that's kind of like the same thing that we did over here, but you have it like, you don't have to like simplify that subtraction. You can just leave it as it is. So this is, those are two like formulas that you need to convert it into code. Right. Once you have that, then you have your t and your u. And if you have two segments like this, you want that t and u to fall between 0 and 1, because if it is not between 0 and 1, then you'll get like a point all the way out here. And let me think about that. Yeah, if your lines were like this, you would end up getting this point, but you can obviously tell that these two intersections are not, or these two segments aren't intersecting, but that's because you didn't cap it to be like this. It assumed that you were talking about infinite lines. So you need to enforce that your t and your u are between 0 and 1. And let me show you the video that kind of details that. I'm just going to link it in the chat once I get it, if anybody wants some more details on that. I had to deal with this when I was used to working with map visual. That's such a hard word for me to say. Visualizations, like putting information on like Mapbox. Yeah, I think they use a lot of linear algebra. There's a lot of like scaling and positioning and kind of like geometry involved with this kind of stuff. Where are we? Yeah, so there's a couple of things that need to hold true to get your points, to get this point here. And I think we'll collect them over here. We will grab I don't like that. I think I'm just gonna leave it where it is. We can refer to it, and I can refer to my notes if I need to. But let's code this up. So first thing is, we'll go into here, we'll create a new thing. Okay, so the first thing I like to do when I'm like working on a new component is just like show something, like get it out there, that we know like the markup is at least working. So we're going to be working with an SVG, and I always steal like properties from some other SVG because I never remember things like the XMLNS name and things, so I just steal them. And it looks like we need a width and a height. I guess we'll leave it constant for now. Height is 1. And just to make sure that this is working, let's draw a rectangle. Is it X? Can't remember if it's X or Y. Let's just do a circle because I can remember a circle. Positioned at width over 2. And height over 2. Right, and the radius, we'll just say it's 5%. And then we need to add that into the blog post so that we can actually see it. What do they call it? Intersection? Individual of class. Do you use NVim too? I like it. I was complaining about it yesterday, but it's pretty good. Let's make one of these. And I want to make it at the top so we can see it very easily. This. Yeah. So what is it? Client. Yeah. I don't really like any of those like IDE wars or language wars or anything. If it works for you, then that's all that matters at the end of the day. So this is a markdown file, but it's MDX, you can see here. So it allows you to do components inside Markdown. I use LunarVim. That's what I used to use when I first started using it. There was a streamer YouTuber called Chris at Machine, and I just kind of copied over like his configuration. But there's a lot of like out of the box solutions for NeoVim. Like if I was going to use one nowadays, I'd probably use LazyVim. But LunarVim's a good one. There's like NVChad is another one. Astro NVim is another one. Anybody that wants to like just try it out, those are perfectly fine like testing environments, if you will, for that sort of thing. But in Astro, you have to give it this client visible property, and that says anytime that it's visible on the client, like in your browser, then render it. So we didn't give this thing a fill. Well, let's jump back over here. And let's fill this thing. This is white for now. Format it. Oh yeah, I have this weird like stacking thing going on. But this is our SVG for now, and what I want to do is draw exactly this kind of thing right here, but allow the user to like play around with the points and redraw it as necessary. Text notepad pretty quickly. Yeah, the one thing I like about that I could never like really get out of VS Code is just like navigating the files and stuff, and like doing things in the terminal. I mean, I know you can run a terminal in VS Code, but it just didn't feel as like natural as it does in NVim. Oh, the themes. So I use Rose Pine Moon, which is a subset or like an alternative of Rose Pine. I think Rose Pine Moon, something like that. But I believe it's the same one that Primeagen uses. Okay, trying to find a theme that I like. Yeah, I've been looking for a new one too. I kind of want one that's like really yellow, but I haven't found any that like are built into, or I'm sure they're out there, but any that are kind of like well known, you know, any kind of like not like something like off the wall, but kind of like trusted, if you will. Yeah, I think that LunarVim comes with like 20 different themes or something. There's a lot of options to choose from. I mean, even Vim comes with a lot of built-in themes, but none of them are very good. Can't find any that you like? You can make your own. There's this plugin called Lush.nvim, and it's like an interactive color like theme creator kind of thing. So I think there's a lot of well-known themes that came out of Lush. what are we doing? Yeah, so we're going to need a couple of points. Let's say that A is a vec2, and we'll import this. And let's set it equal to 0, 0 for now. And we're going to need 4 points. And it might make sense to turn this into an array. But I can always just, like, I like to get everything working on stream, and then after stream I kind of clean things up. Because like refactoring and all that is interesting for some people, but I don't know. It's not the problem. Like refactoring should come after you've solved everything. And Vim for the longest time, it still can't get it. Yeah, it's not easy for beginners. There's a high like level, or what do they call it? Leveled entry, or there's a term for that I can't think of, but like getting into it is kind of hard, right? Ah, why doesn't that autocomplete? Ah, whatever. We'll just put it in an array that says A, B, C, and D. And we'll take them as X and Y, but we'll take it as a CX and a CY. Learning curve, that's the one, thank you. Yeah, I'm so bad at words, like, it's always on the tip of my tongue. I can never think of like what the term is, right? But that's why like you describe kind of like around the term, and usually people can pick up on it. Yeah. Try to cram all the commands and motions into my head, and yeah, there's still a lot that I don't think I make use of. But like, there's enough to be, what do they say, like be dangerous in it, right? And if you realize, like, here's good advice, and it's good advice because I say it is. If there's something that you do a lot, like you do very often in your workflow, then you should probably think about how can I make that as easy as possible. So if you find that you do a lot of like a command on a command line all the time, then why not create an alias for it? You know, you have to tailor your tools to be for you, right? That's why everything is so customizable, right? Moving around with HJKL. So I use the arrow keys, but I use a really weird keyboard. And HJKL, I use Colmax, so it's not like in the same position as like HJKL are kind of like in weird positions. But I don't like, the one thing I didn't like when I was using a normal like QWERTY keyboard was that H was the key that wasn't on the pinky. So I think what I did was I moved everything over by like 1 to the right, so that it was like pointer on H, and then this was J, and then this was K, and this was L. Colmac user, yeah. I use Colmac DH and a 36 key keyboard, so that's probably why I'm not very fast at typing. But what I want to do, just to make sure that these are 4 points, is to draw them at different positions. So let's take this one, and yeah, it's at 0, 0. This one is at 0 width, or this should be, this one will be the height. And the width, and we're going to draw these. Like so. Let's jump back over here. And they're at the 4 corners there. So we've got 4 points that we can play around with. And let's make these points movable. So I have an action that does that, which we created a few streams ago. and it's located in util. What's going on here? Maybe I can do a code action to import it, or let's do this. It's in util. I don't know why that's not. Is it called something else? Yeah, we have it right here. Yeah, one thing you have to be aware of when you're using things like this is that you have to know like how to debug your tools, right? So I just restarted the LSP server and it looks like it's working. If we take a look here, let's just say, yeah, that's so weird. Why is it doing that? Oh, I know why. Duh. It needs to be that, maybe? Let me see what's going on. Okay, well, we'll just leave it like that for now. But we're going to use the movable, and that gives us the ability to move these things around, but we also need to add a class to it to indicate that you can move it. So let's say cursor move. And these won't be movable at first, but we should still at least like see that you can move them. So the cursor got changed into that like move, that move kind of symbol that indicates that you can kind of like drag it around. But the use movable command or action, it gives you an event that you can listen to. And we'll destructure the detail off of this event. And I think what I want to do, so that we can access these by their names and kind of like, because these are objects at the end of the day, we want to be able to like modify their positions. We're going to not destructure this, but we'll just call it as maybe point. And when the event fires, we're going to say point at 0. Let's get the X and Y off the detail. Yeah, it has an X field and a Y field. And the point X, like it's equal to that. And this is not CXCY anymore, this is that and that. Okay, if we did this right, we should be able to move those points around now. Very intriguing. Yeah, so now we can drag these points around. I'm not sure where to start them at the beginning, but like that's something that I can do off stream. But now we need to draw a line between A and B and C and D. Randomize it? That might be a good thing to do. You know, just randomize it between 0 and the width and 0 and the height. And then like, I don't know if people want to, they can like, maybe it's enticing that every time you come to the page, you get a new set of segments, right? So in order to draw a line, Let's do, I want the circles to be on top of the line. Yeah, this will be a blog post. So I don't have a command for it, but if you are on Twitch and you look at my, I don't know if it's in my profile or not, but I can just link it here. And the actual post is available, but it is hidden. So it's kind of like on a hidden route, if you will. I think if you click that, it'll bring you there. Yeah. Okay, so we will draw a line between a line in SVG, it takes 4 properties, the x1, y1, x2, y2. This is going to be so a0 is the x value. Darn it. Yeah, like that. And you can grab that. Let's grab this and clean it up a little bit. This needs to be B. This needs to be 2. Is that right? Let me think. Oh, they need to be wrapped in the curlies. So we should see a line, but we need to stroke it in order to see it. So we'll do white for now. Need to stroke width. We'll just say 1%. Let's see if that did it. Well, we see this one. Oh yeah, so that was for the first line. We need to do 2 lines. So let me get this. One thing I don't like about Svelte in Vim is if you're in an HTML file, you can do like the percent key will like if you type the percent, you know the you know what the percent is. If you type this thing, it's supposed to bring you to the next tag, but it doesn't in Svelte files. And that's a plugin called Matchit that comes with NeoVim, but it doesn't come with Vim, if I remember correctly. But it doesn't work in Svelte files, so I have to like grab this manually and copy it like that. This is D and this is D. Yeah, there's our line. So we give the user the ability to do something like this, and what we want is to draw a point right here. But that's why we did all this math from earlier, is that we need to calculate what that point is. And it might make sense to like have this be the initial like configuration, so that we can like quickly test if things are working. So what I do in that case is I create a grid. So I think about the space that we're in is something like this, and we want a point right here, right here, right here, and right here. And then you can split up this square. Let's say it's something like this, like into a 4x4 square, and then it's really easy to determine what this is. It's really easy to determine this point and so on. You take however many like cells you want. In this case, it's 4, and you divide it the width by that. So it's width over 4 is the width of one of the cells. Let's say that that's W. And then to get to here, you're going to go right 1W, down 1W, and that's assuming that your width and the height are the same. If you want this one, it's right 1W and then down 3 Ws. So let's do that. So that's really easy to position these points. Probably put that in a variable just in case we ever need to change it. and that is divided by the cell count. And because this is a constant, I usually like to capitalize them just by convention, which means I need to update this and this. And we're going to change these in a moment, so I'm not going to change them now. X1, X2, and Y1, Y2. Yeah, for both lines, right? Yeah, that's going to be the endpoints of both lines. Is that what you mean? Yeah, so what we're doing with this will be like this, right? We're going to calculate what these points are in that grid, and then we're going to draw a line like that. So now we have the W, and we can just say this first position is, oh, yeah, I think I know what you mean. Yeah, so we do have the X1 and the Y1 of both, or we have like the XY here, XY there, but we don't know what this is, right? But I kind of want to like solve for what that is, and you kind of calculate it. That the whole like idea is we're going to solve for that position there, and no matter where these like segments are in the space, we're going to be able to solve for it. I don't know if that answers what you're talking about, but I think it'll be more clear when we get a little bit further along. So this is 1, 1, it looks like. This is, so we're just taking like how many steps of W are we taking? For this one, it is 3, 1. This one here is 1, 3. And the last one should be 3, 3. So, and then you just multiply all these by W. So it's going to be a scalar. You just put W on the front of them. So that's 1, 3. This is W. What did we say? This was. We could do this in the map, or we could. There's not very many points, so might as well just do it in line. Three times W. This one was W. We've got 3 times W and 3 times W. And what was the last one? I keep having to like go over here and actually click on this because I don't have things set up correctly, but this is fine. Yeah, 1, 1 was the last one. And I might have gotten A and B flipped around. So what was it? This is A, this is B, this is C, this is D. So A, 3, 1 is D, 1, 3 is C, and the last one is B. So 1, 1 and 3, 3 need to pair up. And the other two are like the other numbers that we were talking about. Oh, it looks like we got something off by a little bit. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I see it. Yep, there we go. So that'll be our starting positions. Okay, let's code up that big function. Probably do it in utils, but what I like to do is do it in the component and then move it out when it's like completed. So our function is going to take 2 segments, but we're going to take them as points. So this is a vec2, B is a vec2, and it's going to take C as a vec2, D is a vec2. And we're going to do some destructuring. So we'll take ax, ay, that is A. I'm going to get B as well. And then what did we say? Rx was B minus A, I believe. Or the R vector. Where we renamed it. Yeah, where is it? Oh, it's right here. It's really small. We're going to do this one here. Yeah, so Rx is Bx minus Ax, and Ry is By minus Ay. So these are just all like the pieces and parts that we need. And then we're going to do the same thing for the other vector, or the other segment. We're going to replace A with C. And we'll replace B with D. And here R becomes S. Oh, I'm missing something right here. Okay, so now we need to, first thing I'm going to do actually is explain one little thing. You can see here that in this kind of form here, on the denominator you have R cross S. You need to check if that's ever going to be 0, because if it is 0, then you're doing a division by 0. So you do not want R cross S to be 0. And if you write out what R cross S is, actually I think I did it over here somewhere. Maybe I didn't. But I'm just going to do it in the code. And you can go through and see like where that's derived from. So we'll call it denominator. And do I have it? Yeah, I do. It's right here. So that's sy times rx minus ry times sx. And this function is either going to return us a single point, or if there is no intersection, it's going to return null. And we're going to treat parallel or lines that lay on top of each other as a null case. So if you have this line and this line right on top of it, you've got like infinity intersection points, right? But we're going to return null in this case. So our function is either going to return a vec2 or null. And we're going to check if this is 0, then we're going to return null. We're going to do that first, because if it is true like that, then we don't need to calculate anything more. But if it's not, then we need to do some more work. So t is equal to sy times cx minus ax minus rx times cy minus ay, and then u is, actually this is all divided by the denominator. But we need to change the sy into an r here, and this rx, let me make sure this is right. Yeah, this should be an s here. And if these are wrong, I have it in a gist, so I can fix it if needed. but I think that's correct. Okay, so we want our t and u to be between 0 and 1, so let's do a check for that. Can't do it like that because this is should be broken up like this. Not 7. If this is true, then we've got a point. So we return the point. If it's not true, then there was no intersection. Or our points do intersect, but we're considering them as lines. So we have a case like this, where they do intersect. If you continue this line, it will intersect, but we don't want to consider that case. We want that to return null in that case. So if we made it through all the way to the bottom here, we're just going to return null. In this case, we do have an intersection point. We can just take either this equation. Where is it? I've got too much stuff in the page here. We can take either one of these will give us the points that we need. So this is ax times, what is it, ay, I think? Need to check it in a moment. Or maybe it's plus t times, is it by? Let me take a look. Oh, it's rx, so that b minus a, so this is a plus r is a vector times t. Right, and then same thing with the y, we got ax plus t, this is a ay, and ry. I think that's right. Let me just quickly check that all of that is done correctly. Yeah, on the other screen, I'm just checking that it's good to go. I think we are good to go. Okay, so how do we use this thing? Well, we need to pass in two vectors, or two segments. And this is curried. So one thing that we can do is a little optimization is do this part when we have our first argument. Yeah, so you're allowed now to pass in the one segment, and then you can hold on to that function. This now returns a function, or it did before, but now it returns a function that is awaiting for that second segment. But you can do a lot of work before you returning that function. So you can calculate like the rx and the ry because you already have these first 2 points, and then you're just going to return a function that does the rest when you pass in that second segment. So let's create one of these, and we'll use AB as our first segment. But this actually needs to be reactive, right? Because any of our points could change. So we'll say that our intersection is dependent on A and B. And now anytime A and B changes, this inner thingy will change as well. And then our point is going to be inter of C and D. And then let's just log out what that is as we change it. So it looks like that should be the point 0.5.5, and that's what we see here. But as I change it, it'll like recalculate it on either case, right? But now to make that more clear, let's draw a circle there at that point. So we got our point. The last thing we want to do is draw that circle. It is a circle. And the CX is point of 0. Point of 1, we'll give it a radius of, I don't know, I think the others are 5. Yeah, 5. Let's fill it with red to make it stand out. And oh yeah, this could be null, so we need to check for that. Oh wait, it's this one. Yeah. So if the point is not null, then we need to draw the circle. And that looks like we need to offset it. Or did I get this backwards? Oh, I got dy here. So as I change this, now it's going along that line. Right? And then if I go off the line, even though these lines would intersect, we're not drawing that until we actually like cross it. If you want to draw that, if there is like, if you do have like a use case for drawing that line, then you would remove this check right here. Because then you're considering infinite lines. Okay, so the reason we did that, now we have a visualization for this thing. Now we can kind of like draw those lines. So in this case, our CD or our AB is this blue line. And then we're going to loop around this polygon and take each segment one at a time, and then calculate if there is an intersection, like here there would be, we're going to calculate that and draw some kind of shape there. That way it's easier to see how many intersections are occurring on this cat polygon. And I don't usually like do CSS and stuff on the stream, because like that's all styling and stuff. That, I mean, the heart of the problem is like the more interesting stuff for me at least is like the algorithms and like showing it off and stuff, and then you can like tweak the CSS later on to make it a little bit more appeasing. So we've got that intersection function, and I want to move it into its own, not into its own file, but out of this component. So we just grab it, we'll take it, and we'll put it in the utils folder. And yeah, I already have an intersection function in here, but this is the one that I didn't know how it was calculated. The other one that we just derived is one that I actually know how to derive. So this one is actually not in use, so we can just get rid of it. And then we need to bring it back in here so we can use it. Let's do a little code action, import it from util, and we'll make sure that everything still works. Looks like it's thinking that we still have that old one. Let's restart the web server, or not the web server, but the LSP server. Okay, no errors. And it's still working, good to go. But now I want to bring this intersection into the raycast component. And this is the function here that calculates like if we are inside the polygon or not. And it doesn't tell us as much detail as the intersection function that we wrote, but we'll leave it here for now. And we're gonna do kind of the same thing with the intersection function, because we can just count the number of intersections. We'll create one of these. The first thing that we need to pass in is the horizontal line, that blue line. So that is going to be CX, and then the width, because it goes all the way to the like right edge of that SVG. And does it need to be? Yeah, it needs to be like this. Expected 2 arguments? Did you really? Oh yeah, it's 2 points. So it is the CX and CY is the start point. Cool. And then after we have that, we need to loop over all the segments of the polygon and then check if that line is intersecting with any of those segments. So let's create a function for that. Line intersections, I guess. I don't know. Gonna take in maths is just refreshing. Oh, do you like this kind of stuff? I don't know. There's a lot of people that work in programming that don't like math, and I understand that because you can create really like sleek and elegant applications without knowing any kind of math, right? But I like the stuff that is mathy for some reason. Do you have a favorite field of math? Are you kind of like into calculus or linear algebra or discrete math or anything like that? Any particular field? Oh, you're not in uni. Oh, so you are that young then. I thought that was a joke. Yeah, so my favorite classes were calculus. So I don't know if you've taken any calculus classes yet, but like calculus 1 and 3, when you start visualizing it in calculus 3, it's like, wow, it's like so beautiful and elegant. Oh, okay, cool, yeah. So things like where you're taking like triple integrals to get like the volume of some like some solid or whatever, like that's so interesting, isn't it? The fact that you can do that, the fact that it all works out. Me and Number don't get along. So the polygon is actually a list of points, and how many people came up with this stuff? Yeah, it's, I mean, calculus has been around for what, like since Isaac Newton? Or maybe even before that. So yeah, we're like hundreds and hundreds of years of development, right? But the first thing that we take, yeah, so we've got this enter here. I'm trying to remember how I did this. Fairly decent until they started mixing letter with numbers. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting when you take like math in grade school. I remember they would always put like a question mark where the thing that you were trying to solve for. But why not just use a letter? Like eventually, if that student is going to go all the way through, let's say like high school, they're going to learn how to like work with variables and stuff. So just use a letter, like prepare them for that. Integrating icons. Oh yeah, you got like your Greek symbols and your like Latin symbols and stuff. You start running out of letters in the alphabet. Oh, yeah, like wouldn't it be so much nicer to just say x plus 2 there? And then like teach them how to solve for x? Like I don't think people give kids enough credit for like how smart or like how they can understand and comprehend things like that. I don't know, like I don't think you should like try to make your kid, if you have kids or you care for kids or something like that, you shouldn't try to force them to be smart. That's not what I'm saying, but I think people don't, they underestimate their abilities. See, that's weird. I didn't have physics in high school. I had chemistry and biology, but I never took a physics class until college. Yeah, if someone isn't like enjoying math concepts, then yeah, then like uh you can help them along with it and stuff, but that's about as far as I would go. Like I wouldn't try to push them any more than that. Regular classes were too easy. Yeah, I don't think anybody is smarter than anybody else. It's like usually what you have that you're smart about is what you're interested in. So I know nothing about like arts and crafts, right? But my mom is like an expert at that stuff. And so I would consider her to be smart in arts and crafts, right? Everybody is smart about something. Physics, chemistry, biology. Well, I really liked biology, like the stuff where you can actually do experiments. Um, like that's why I tell people to work on projects is anything that you can like actually experiment with and formulate a hypothesis and check it and that sort of stuff. It's so much more like impactful than just like I don't know, something that you would just write by hand or something, right? Like project-based assignments, like I felt that's where I felt like I got the most out of it. If it was a test, I just, study for the test and then months later I would just forget it all. But like that experience of doing some kind of like experiment is going to stick with you for a lot longer. It's going to be a lot more meaningful. So what am I doing here? This needs to take... I actually have a funny chem story. Oh, do you really? Is it... Well, yeah, go ahead and share it, because now I'm curious. Because the stuff that we did in my chemistry class was kind of boring. But the biology class was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. Because like all that like, what is it called? Stoichiometry stuff was kind of boring to me. Yeah. Yeah, I remember we did an experiment. And I think this is a pretty common experiment, but you have some kind of like two substances and you pour one into the beaker and you do this over like that hood thing that comes down and it creates like this like it bubbles or whatever and it creates like this foam thing that shoots out of the beaker. I always liked that one. So the polygon's never going to change. So maybe I want to create this function to accept the polygon first, which I am. Sodium and water. Yeah, some of those raw materials or like raw like substances and stuff. I didn't know this, but you have to store them in a particular way. Like you store things that are not reactive next to each other. But if you know that there's going to be some kind of dangerous reaction, if like those containers like fall off a shelf or something, you don't want that to happen. You store them in like separate locations. Oh no. Wait, was there like an explosion? Oh, the wrong glass. Did the beaker explode or something? Somebody like I've always wondered if anybody's actually ever experienced yeah, huge explosion. Was he freaking out or what happened? Beaker flew everywhere? No way. Did somebody get hurt? Like glass shards or something? No, he fled the scene. That's awful. I mean, if it was genuinely like an accident, then I think I would have stuck around, right? Yeah, he's like, I'm out of here. No, but like they should be trained and like well educated and stuff, and to prevent stuff like that. I mean, like accidents can happen, but don't flee the scene, you know? Like if you need to own up to like whatever accident you were responsible for. No one got hurt. That's good. Yeah, like flying shards of glass or whatever. That sounds like a dangerous situation. Went to get the fire extinguisher. Yeah, right. What do you need to put up? Oh, I guess if there was some kind of like burning going on, you'd run for the fire extinguisher. But usually that's like in the laboratory, right? You don't need to leave the laboratory when it's right there in the laboratory. Maybe he was having like a panic attack. You know, some people like don't know how to react, and it was like that fight or flight response or something. They just got to get out of there. They don't know what to do. They just got to get out of there, right? Is he still did he get like in trouble in any way? Was he like reprimanded in any way? No, okay. And don't know if you're still around, ESO Exile, but thank you for following 20 minutes ago. He was alright, so yeah, yeah. I mean, the only like thing that I can fault him for in that case is running away, right? So this is going to take a polygon, and it's going to take a CX and CY, which are numbers. Or actually, let's take a vector. So our vector is, let's say segment. Or what do I want to call this? I don't know. Let's just say P1, I guess. P1, P2, and what are we going to do with P1 and P2? We're going to loop over points of the polygon, or segments of the polygon, so that's I. The length, just grab a hold of that so that we're not calculating it every time in a loop. And we need to get the like the A, or this is the C and D in this case. So C is going to be polygon at I, and then the D is, so these polygons, the way that I have them stored is that the last point connects to the first point. So an easy way to do that is if it is the last point, we're just going to wrap it around with the mod operator. And maybe we want to destructure this. And we're going to create, or we're going to return a list of intersections. Which are just a list of vec2s. So let's create a function, or a place to put these in. It's going to be something like this. And we'll initialize it to be empty. And in the end, we're going to return that. So we need to say if intersection, don't know what I called this. Yeah, let me get rid of this for now. So here we're taking in that point, and the point is a P1 and P2. Or let me see. So that's a segment. That's a point. What am I missing here? Oh, I think I just passed P1, P2. If we intersected, let's put that in a variable because it's going to be either a point or null. Okay, ends. Yeah, so you can see here, oh, it's a function. We don't want a function. Oh, I see. So this needs to be C and D. Yeah, and then this needs to be P1, P2. Right? Yes. So if it is not null, meaning that it is defined, because null in a Boolean context is 0, or is false, then we will just push that intersection into the intersections array. I got a typo here. Dang it. I don't know why this formatter is so slow. But you can see it over here when I format it, you can see it running right here. Okay, so we need to create one of these line intersection guys. And it's going to take... Hey Leah, how are you? Is it Leah or is it like Leia? I think it's Leah, right? Yeah, one thing we can do, like we did in the other function, is that we can do some calculations here. Leah. I'm pretty good. I'm a little bit nervous because I have an interview tomorrow. But it's an in-person interview, which I prefer. Like the last two that I had were over Zoom, and I don't know, it's just awkward. I prefer to do things in person. I think it's a front end position, if I remember right. I should probably do some research before I go. But I think they're just looking for somebody to help with the front end of their website and stuff. It's a fairly new company from what I can tell. So, but there's I had another interview that I'm waiting to hear back on, and it's a PHP position. So hopefully, because it pays well, I kind of want that one. And they're here in town. I don't have to do anything remotely. This needs to be, yeah, returned. Virtual interviews are kind of awkward, but I think I like them better. Yeah, and the first one I had was really weird because I never used Zoom, like at my company I work at now, which I'm leaving on Friday. There's very little communication, so I was kind of not used to it. But like the first time was kind of weird, but the second time not so bad. And I think it's just like you do it enough times, you get used to it. You know, everything is just practice. Okay, yeah, so we just kind of like moved this calculation up into that first part of the function because it could be done like at this point. Like this is going to run when this statement runs, right? So we can do some kind of like calculation before we do this second part of the function. Ask you to record a short video about yourself. I've never had that one happen. Yeah, I've never had in an interview. I haven't had very many interviews, but I've never had like a one where they asked about like code. Actually, they care more about like your skills as a whole. I think it's crazy that people want to see you do like if you ever have an interview and they ask you one of those leak code questions. I think that's outrageous. I think it's pretty bogus. I mean, I get that they want to like gauge where you're at. And your like comprehension and your skill level and stuff, but and maybe like how you work under pressure, I don't know, but like I would much rather like show off like projects I've worked on and talk about those kinds of things. Took me 5 tries to get the video right. Oh, I mean that is like a kind of like the strategy, right? You can record the video as many times as you want. So you keep recording until you get one that's like perfect, right? Until you run out of time, I guess. Okay, so we're going to take li and we're going to apply it to our point, which is actually cx, cy, and cx and the width. So this should give us back an array, yeah, of vec2s, and then what we need to do is check the length of that. So here we can do i.length is, if it is odd, then we are inside the polygon. If it is not odd, then we are outside. So how do we check for that? We do mod 2 is equal to 1, I think it is. And then where did this color come from? Oh, that was what color was called. Yeah, I got it. Like that. Yeah, upload the video. I do an initial interview with HR, then I do a technical interview. Yeah, I think a lot of the time when they do, like HR doesn't really know what's going on, right? Or, I mean, they're more generalized, right? So getting past HR is probably the hardest part, I think, maybe. I don't know. But I don't know if, like, I've never worked at a really big company, but I kind of think it's weird. Like, why should HR do the first part of the hiring process? Did you end up finding multi-cursor plugin? I haven't looked at it yet. But that one that was linked in your chat the other day, or yesterday, looked really, like, appealing, so I might use that one. And I think I have it saved, or I can just look in my history for it. But this now, we should see the same thing as before, but now we're using this line intersections function instead of this contains. And it looks like it's still working. Yeah. But the benefit of this is now we have those exact points. So we can draw those points. And let's draw them down here. We'll say for each. Wanted me to interview with them one more time, and then they ghosted me. Yeah, there's so many like cases of like nobody reporting back. Like, I want to know that if you do well or not. Like, what can I improve on, right? Like, don't just not contact me. At least tell me no. At least tell me I didn't get the position. Don't just like leave me hanging. That's probably the most frustrating thing. See, this should autocomplete, but it doesn't. Or yeah, it did in that case. Maybe I'm just like doing it too fast that the language server can't look up that completion before I hit enter. But what was this called? We call it let's call it so we have int here. And these all should probably be named better. Say it's ints. And what is ints again? Let me just make sure these are typed correctly. Yeah, ints is the list of the intersections that we're considering. And now it's not working. Anyway, so we will get the intersection, which is a C and a Y. And then we'll just draw a circle. Circle is at CX. CY with a radius of 5 and a fill of that color. Is that working? Oh, I didn't save it. Oh, look at this. That's weird. It's like right here. Maybe I got the X and the Y mixed up. Let's see. This is not that. This is width CY. Yeah, there we go. So they're big and beautiful, right? Now we're drawing those points anywhere that we're intersecting that line. And if we are outside, yep, the color changes and we're still drawing those points. They're not very good looking, but we'll change that later. So now it's like way easier to tell, like, where am I intersecting? And I don't know, let's make them smaller for now. Maybe too small. Maybe we'll do 2%. And then I think, like, I was thinking about maybe we could draw the number. Like, so we would label this like 1, 2, and 3. And maybe that's going to be like the last thing we do for now. Because we did make a lot of progress, because we did need this intersection function for another visualization that we're going to do. Probably the final one, right? This looks like something that you would see in like a chemistry class, or I don't know. It reminds me of like those like molecular like diagrams and stuff. So one thing you can get out of this is the index. You just put I like that, and now you have the index where you're at in this array. So you can use that in a string if you want. So let's do the text, and let's position it at the same position as this circle. Right, so I don't remember what text takes. Maybe an X? Let's see. If it's not, I'll look at the documentation. And the text we're just going to say is I. And I might need to give that a stroke. Or like a text color, maybe? Let's just see if this gives us anything. Oh, it's way big. I think that's the letter 2, maybe? I don't know. But let's shrink that down. Is there extra small? Still pretty big. Maybe we can do an inline class. Font size is like 1%. keep doing that. I don't need to go down there. Come up here and do it. Yeah, they're really tiny, but you can see them there. Maybe if I zoom in. And there's a way to like move this to be anchored in its center so that they're positioned more correctly. Oh, look at that. So the way that we traverse this, we did this point first. And I think that's because the way that this polygon is drawn, this point here probably comes before like the other two. So that presents like a interesting, like how do we handle that? Yeah, so it's going like backwards on that case at least. It's going like this. I mean, we could just reverse it. No, I don't know. But what I want is like 1 to show up here, or maybe, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because like, well, there's not, like, not all languages read right to left. Or left to right, rather. But I don't know, I might toss this idea. Maybe we'll just show some kind of text at the bottom or something that shows the counts. I mean, we could throw this into a different array. So we take our ints. Oh, but we're still like, it's still like paired with that position. So we need to sort this integer list by like their x's. So maybe just to like see if that would work. Here we get out an A and a B. And this should be a vec2, so we need to sort them because the like leftmost one should come first, so that's going to be less than the rest of these. So we need to sort by the 0 position, make sure that that's less than the B position, or the X on these. I don't know if I explained that well, but what's it not like here? Oh, so these are vec2 array. We need to say yeah, this is a vec2. What's it not like? Oh, you know, you need to do the minus here because it has to return a number. So if it is like -1, I can't remember if -1 indicates that that element should come before the other, but it's something that, so you need like 1, 0, and -1 to determine like the order of these things. Okay, so instead of this, we're gonna take this, move it out here, and we're gonna loop over sorted. Actually, let's do it like this, see if this will work. Did we get the I out of that? Oh yeah, I lost the text. Where is it? Right here. Yeah, so now everything is lined up correctly, or it is in order. Let's give them a better background, or like a better color. I wonder if we can set that with the fill. Yeah. So maybe like when it's yellow like that, it should be this color here where the mouse is. And when it's blue, it'll be white. I'm not sure if it's easier to see the black or the white, but you do that later. I don't know, this thing is pretty satisfying. So this one here, for how simple it is, this one is pretty satisfying. So that's kind of like all that I wanted to get done. I think the next stream will be the very last one, where we'll actually do that polygon clipping algorithm. So we did all this stuff to build up to that. Yeah, and I'll push this code up, and it's on the GitHub too if anybody wants to look at it. But I'll probably make a little bit of tweaks to it, and then I'll push it up to my GitHub. And it should be live at this, like when that's done, it should be at this URL as well. Okay, let's find somebody to raid. I'm not sure who will be on right now, but take a look. Josh the genius, thank you. I don't think I'm a genius, but... You never know if you should keep the audience in software and engineering, or software and development, or like show them something new or something that they might not be used to. Thanks for the stream. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, and hope things are going well for you. I think everything will work its way. Like, I don't know how to word it, but I think everything will work its way out in the end, if that makes sense. You can show us something new. Okay, we are going to go raid this streamer, who is a speedrunner streamer. Her name is JCog, and then they just went through a big well, it's been in the works, but a big announcement was made, and I think we should go and show our support. So we will raid JCog is the name, and the button, where's the raid button? Right there. Thanks everybody for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Have a good week and take care. Oh, whoops. Am I still streaming?